what we have here is this. I haven't watched any of Russell Brand's content for a while, and so it's quite jarring to see a clip pop up on Twitter of Brand saying that Tucker Carlson is a good person and I don't believe him to be a negative influence on America. Tucker Carlson is one of the most bad faith propagandists out there. Can anyone bring us up to speed on what has happened to Brand and what has led him to holding these views about somebody who's quite obviously an arch rotter in Carlson? Has Brand been taken out of context? It seems weird anyone would hold those views about Carlson and yet claim to hold any kind of progressive positions. So this is the clip, just a little short one. This is from at Post Left Watch, and what their whole crack is highlighting and keeping receipts on post-left pundits and podcasters and the awful right-wing things they say. You know what it is, right? Fucking guaranteed to be on here one day, the bigger this thing gets, aren't we? Anyway, Brand. Shite. Bear with us there. Classically, isn't working. Stop. Russell, shut up, you gobshite. Goodbye. Right, sorry about that. I shall have to put him in the stream once again, but that's all right. So we'll get him in. Brand, Tarkin, he's Tark. Here he comes. Tarkin. Let's see what he's got to say. So it says in the clip here, Russell Brand, Tucker Carlson on a personal level, who was extremely kind and beautiful to me, and I think is a good person, and I don't believe that he is a negative influence in American cultural life.
Tucker Carlson, who on a personal level was extremely kind and beautiful to me, and I think is a good person, and I don't believe that he is a negative influence in American cultural life. I believe that you have to accept that people have different perspectives on cultural issues, and if you don't, the alternative is some form of tyranny, and hopefully it's the form of tyranny that you happen to agree with, and I don't think that's the answer, because it's a big old world out there, and people do human different.
So, to me, and I don't know how you feel about that, right? But that is some of the woolliest ass bullshit I think I've ever heard in my life. We're talking about Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is an absolute certified rotter. Rotter. So here's some of the things that are in this thread here. And this is on my Facebook page, Milk the Cow Podcast. And what I did was, right, 2 seconds, I'm just going to pull it up. What I did was I asked ChatGPT to list the racist things Tucker Carlson has said. So this is somebody who Brand thinks is a beautiful person. There have been several controversial statements made by Tucker Carlson, says ChatGPT, regarding race that have been criticized as racially charged and divisive. Here are some examples. In 2018, Carlson faced backlash for suggesting that immigrants make the United States dirtier and poorer. Excuse me. He stated, "We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor. They tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided." This comment was widely criticized as xenophobic and racist. In March 2021, Carlson faced criticism for comments he made about Asian Americans, specifically referring to COVID-19 as the Chinese virus and suggesting that China was responsible for the spread of the virus. These comments were criticized as perpetuating anti-Asian sentiment and stoking xenophobic attitudes. Carlson has also been criticized for comments that have been seen as promoting the white replacement theory. We've talked about this a lot on here, great replacement theory and stuff we've done in fascism. There's a folder on youtube.com/cow daily if you want to know more about the fash side of things. Carlson has been criticized for comments that are seen as promoting the white replacement theory, which suggests that white people are being replaced by non-white people through immigration and low birth rates. In a 2018 episode of his show, he stated, "The left's goal is clear, to remake the demographics of our country. This is about America's core identity, who we are, what kind of country we are. Again, this is not about race, it's about culture." These are just a few examples, and there have been other statements made by Carlson which have been criticized, racially charged or insensitive. So each individual, blah, blah, blah. That's ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT to talk about the other things it referred to. So it says, sure, here are some other examples of controversial statements made by Tucker Carlson. In 2026, Carlson was criticized for comments he made on a radio show where he referred to Iraqis as semi-literate primitive monkeys. What a beautiful person, Russell. And suggested that the United States should just kill them all and let's sort it out. These comments were widely condemned as dehumanizing and racist. In 2019, Carlson faced backlash for comments he made about white supremacy, where he downplayed the threat of white supremacist violence and referred to it as a hoax. These comments were criticized as minimizing the very real threat of white supremacist terrorism and ignoring the growing problem of hate crimes and extremism in the United States. Last one. Carlson has also been criticized for comments he has made about women and gender issues. In 2018, he faced backlash for suggesting that women are extremely primitive and just need to be quiet and do what they're told. He's also been criticized for comments he made about sexual assault and harassment, where he suggested that victims of harassment are to blame for their own experiences. Right. I thought it was important to get through all of that simply because how is that the mark of a beautiful person and all of this like woolly shit that brand is coming out with, right? This is, to me, the absolute point of the spear when it comes to this cosmic right stuff, right? And what I mean by cosmic right is this: the cosmic right, the overlap between psychedelics and varieties of right-wing politics. That's one aspect of it. It's generally the overlap between just kind of like crystal botherer. No, and by no means all, but brand seems to have like went off the absolute deep end. How do you say somebody called, oh, well, I met him and he was sound, so that's fine. He's just sound. He's a beautiful person. Tucker Carlson is one of the biggest race baiters in America, working for Fox News, which is just, I mean, look into like the amount of money they've had to pay out and why they've had to pay it out. What is going on with Russell Brand? I'm going to have a look in the comments and just see where yous are at. Right, Gary Sullivan. Brand says it's a big old world. We should all try and get along. We don't live in a pantomime. We should stop booing the bad guys and cheering the good guys. Gary, did you say that before or after the Tucker Carlson thing? Because that to me is woolly as fuck as well. Woolly as fuck. At the end of the day, right, fascists and white supremacists are not beautiful people. And I shouldn't have to be like saying this out loud, but it's 2023 and I'm having to fucking say this out loud. Like, it comes back down to this, like, right, hold on a minute. Gary's saying other things. Strongly disagree with Mike. As soon as we classify people in simple terms, a good person and absolute rot. Well, I'm not doing that though, Gary. Like, I'm saying Carlson's a rotter, but I'm not then going on and saying it's a binary choice. Don't put words in my mouth, pal. I'd have never said that once. So anyway, Jez Hunt said, Carson is a horrendous knob. Brand has been gradually going down a weird path. COVID pushed him right over the edge. Seems to me to be a sentence that like sums it all up, which is very on brand for you, Jez. You're very good at that. And that seems to be what it is. I've seen this a lot, and we spoke about this in the Hangout before, Cow Daily. Leon mentioned it. Like, quite a few martial arts gyms that I've seen, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, have went down a kind of mad right-wing path. And we've spoke about this quite a lot on the show about how the organized right of fascism globally are specifically setting out to do this. They're specifically setting out to, well, it's to fragment the left. So one of the things was to move like the sort of like hippie sort of cosmic people, conspiracy crossover people away to the right. That started years ago. I was talking about this in 2015, 2016 on the old show. The fact remains that you could see it. And I used to like love a conspiracy theory back in the day, man. Like, and I still do, because some of them are real. Some of them are not, and they're riddled with misinformation. You know what I'd do if I was like part of the Secret Service or whatever? I'd just keep like using those people as misinformation, like organic bots, human bots, like spread that noise and knowledge. I think, to me, one of the issues with Brand, and what I want to say is like, just background, I loved his Radio 2 show, man. I'm telling you this, without that, back in the day on a Sunday night, there would have been no podcast, because it was just like seeing how the format of these things can be played with, and also how you can make it entertaining. And that's the background with it. All the love in the world and all that for still brand, but like you cannot be calling somebody like Tucker Carlson like anything other than what he is, which is a white supremacist. Like, it's the cosmic equivalent of say what you want about Hitler, but he made the trains run on time. He's still an egregious rat. Like, you know, he's still like wanting to place white people at the top of some imaginary hierarchy that they've made up. So at the end of the day, you've got to, without fear or favor, criticize people, even if you like them, which is what we'll do with Diane Abbott in a bit, not because it's like balanced and all that. It's because these two things seem to me to be indicative of this psychological framework that people choose to adopt, which is I'm of the left, I'm of the right, I clap along with these, whatever they do, which to me is silly. But first, a bit more detail. What we got. So this is a guy I'm going to ask to come on, Jules Evans. So this is from dandelion.earth, which sounds a little bit cosmic to me. The Cosmic Right, the overlap between psychedelics and varieties of right-wing politics with Jules Evans. So what he says is, it has been argued that psychedelic experiences will automatically make you more liberal, open-minded, tolerant, progressive, and environmentally friendly. But the historical evidence suggests otherwise. In fact, psychedelics have in the past been embraced by conservative, traditionalist, and patriarchal cultures like the Aztecs and in the West. Their champions have included liberal elitists such as Aldous Huxley, Doyle, Aleister Crowley, absolute rotter, eugenicists like Havelock Ellis, speaks for itself, war-loving nationalists like Ernst Jünger, boo, and even neo-pagan fascists. More recently, the QAnon shaman, who became the poster boy for the Capitol Hill insurrection, has proved that psychedelics do not necessarily make you liberal or immune to authoritarian, anti-democratic conspiracy theories. Fully agree. And it's really important that just because somebody's got a tie-dyed hoodie on, it doesn't make them one of ye. Because if you're prepared to like literally go and vote for the BNP, it doesn't matter what you wrap yourself up in, does it? It doesn't matter who you've got wrapped around you. You're still voting for fascism. You're still like saying that Tucker Carlson isn't a bad influence on America, when we've just listed off all the reasons why. Like, does Russell, like, I'm confused, right? Because Russell Brand, I haven't seen his content for a while, but what I did like about it when I did see it was all like, it seemed that he was like very big on, we need the evidence, show the evidence, here's the evidence. And yet he is on video completely omitting all of the evidence about Tucker Carlson and calling him a beautiful person. And what the hell is that? So anyway, if you'd like to support work, go to patreon.com/cowdaily, patreon.com/cowdaily. If you want to support the work on a one-off basis, link in description for PayPal. Cheers, chat. Also, as well, the bad faith of like, you criticize somebody like this and then you're acting illiberally because you're criticizing somebody. Gary, do you honestly think, and I'm directing this at you, do you honestly think that I wouldn't criticize somebody if I agreed with them? And largely, I agree with Brand on a lot of things. Largely, I agree with Diane Abbott on a lot of things. But they're both wrong. Like, you can say that and back that up with evidence like I have. Unless, of course, you think Tucker Carlson's perfectly fine, which is your right, but I will judge you as a white supremacist. We can't woolly around in 2023. Fascism is on the rise, and people like Russell Brand are tacitly waving it through. Now, I've got another video here, and I'm just going to pull it up for you, and it's a short one, and it is about your boy himself, Brand, and he's doing this thing, and it's like a festival. He calls it Community 2023. Join us for an unforgettable 3-day experience in Hay-on-Wye. I believe he lives there. Don't miss the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals. What are these like-minded individuals, and what does this look like? Let's have a look. Here we go. Looking like, so far, any other festival I've been to. Let's see. Whoa, why isn't this playing? Go on, play the music. This is the vibe. That's what they're going for. There we go. That's what it is. So fair one, man. Like, I put festivals on. Like, that's not a problem at all. But it's a concern in the sense that people want to say, like, oh, well, I'm platforming like all of these people, and it's in the interest of free speech. But quite often it doesn't go challenged. Like, so I haven't seen it myself, but somebody was saying there was this like massive love-in between Russell Brand and Jordan Peterson recently. Totally fine. And I am not like as slavishly against Jordan Peterson's actual work, because I do think we need things for young men specifically. I'm definitely against the type of shit that the man says outside of his original work, because I think, the pressure may well have got to him, and there's a hell of a lot of like, oh, well, it's all the left's fault. Well, what is the left? Like, if we're going to extend some kind of special privileges to the right and the cosmic right, then, oh, well, they're not all the same. Well, how come the left is all the same? It seems a little bit bad faith to me. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. A lot. So what else do we have? Just something to mention. It's like in with the whole Matthew Letitia and the cosmic right. A lot of what they're saying is just bollocks. It's this whole like sort of ecosystem that's wrapped around these people. And we're going to do deeper dives into this when we get guests on. So I'm not going to do that today. But something to bear in mind. So these are a few letters from The Guardian. I'll finish with this and I'll take some of your comments and we'll move on to the next thing. And it must be something if I'm using The Guardian on here. Anyway, it says here, I wonder if the bleak arc followed by Russell Brand and his fellow populist online conspiracy theorists is quite so new. The idea of transcending left and right became popular in the 1990s with Bill Clinton's and Tony Blair's Third Way, a social democratic theory of mild redistribution and liberalization that would overcome the staid-old dichotomy between the state and the market. In 1994, Blair's academic guru, Professor Anthony Giddens, published Beyond Left and Right, The Future of Radical Politics, an imaginative guidebook to the new way of doing things. I remember the hype as an impressionable student at the London School of Economics. I attended Giddens' lectures. The bright morning sunshine of 1st of May 97 was an intoxicating tonic. It was as if these former leftists were implying that there was no longer any need for broad debate. Trust us, they were saying. We found the answers and the old divisions are no longer relevant, but we couldn't trust them and they were wrong. Claiming to move beyond established dialectics imperils democracy. Just for people who don't understand what that is, it's a lot of that's born from something called the Hegelian dialectic, or the dialectic around left and right, and obviously another layer of that would be the Overton window that people talk about, where the shift between left and right happens, where the center becomes the right, etc. So anyway, conflict between left and right endures. It seems presumptuous to declare its demise, says Dr. Daniel Gay, Saint Georges, Haute-Savoie, France. Interesting. And the key point for me is, which is why I want to conclude it, is quite often it's people who subscribe to these views are like, we found it, it's all real, and it's all this because there's this whole spiritual bag of cosmicness wrapped around it, so it must be right because I feel it inside. Now, I'm not rinsing out like any, we all have intuition and it should be used, but there's too many people putting that faith in gurus and Brand, it seems to me, as a natural consequences of his already admitted narcissism, has really, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't think he has a toxic narcissism, but I haven't followed him for a while. I think he's like, a lot of it's from needing attention. Quite a lot of people who end up like acting and whatever, no disrespect, but a lot of it's attention seeking behavior. Some people it's not, but quite a lot it is. And this can lead, especially in the case of brand, during times when all of that supply is removed, lockdown, from a psychological perspective, that can then lead to, well, things like this. The gateway for a lot of people towards the right was anti-lockdown, because it was people on the right wing who predominantly, it seems, were calling for that not to be the case at all. I mean, you see this quite a lot. They'll, like, people are talking now as if like lockdowns like don't work or never worked, and like, it's fucking bollocks. Like, are you out of your friggin' tree? And then when you point out like, here's the evidence for them work, and then goalposts will shift. Weird, isn't it? But like, this is what I've seen. People who have went towards the right wing now want to do that like sort of post left right thing because you're now right wing. I don't see very many like left wing people wanting to do that. And I'm not saying the left, as you're about to find out, is any kind of perfect thing whatsoever. But there it is. Let us know what you think about Russell Brand in the comments. Be very much appreciated. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Please, if you want to support our work, go to patreon.com/cowdaily. Link in the description for PayPal if you want to make a one-off contribution to our work. Share it, like it, do all the good things. Thanks. Catch you later.